All right, everybody, welcome back to yet again another season preview. We move on to Team 4 of 32, if I'm correct today, with the Nashville Predators. So, obviously, the Nashville Predators are quite an interesting team. Whenever you think they're going to go turn around and rebuild, they prove you wrong. And that's the team that I've really been impressed with. I've been impressed with what the Predators have done these past 2 years. Really, in all honesty, I didn't think they were going to be that good of a team, but they proved me wrong the past couple of years. So, starting off with last season for the Nashville Predators, and it was a good one. 45, 30, and 7 for 97 points. They had 266 goals for and 252 goals against, and they lost in the first round against the Colorado Avalanche. Their leading scorer was Roman Josi with 23 goals, 73 assists for 96 points. And then their goalie was obviously Jose Saros with a 38, 25, and 3 record with a 2.64 goals against average. So, good all-around season for Nashville. Whenever you think they're going to lose, like I said earlier, they just win. And they're that type of team. And, you know, they had a lot of losses in the last offseason. And it really, people thought it would take a toll on them, but nope, it didn't. Preds obviously moved on to the first round. And honestly, if Saros wasn't injured, that probably would have been a much more competitive first round than it was. Even though it was a sweep, it would have been much more competitive. I genuinely do believe that. So, they did have quite the eventful offseason, and I like the moves that they made. I like the moves. I like the depth that they brought in. Nashville looks very good now. Starting off with their departures, not that many big players. They lost Phil Myers, Luke Kunin, David Riddick, Rocco Grimaldi, and Matt Benning. But compared to the acquisitions, it was some good players. They got Ryan McDonough to help out that blue line. They got John Leonard, Kevin Lankin, Mark Jankowski, Nino Niederreiter, and Jordan Gross for some additional depth or some good forwards to add to the core. I like the moves. McDonough really improved that defense. That defense is so good now. It is unreal. And it is impressive, the moves that Nashville has made. And, you know, this is the team that David Poile has put together. He's been the GM for the entire existence, of the Nashville Predators. So it is some very good additions, and I like them a lot overall. I think this is a very good, much more improved team. And, you know, this team, you could argue, was surrounded by Jose Saros, and that was the reason why they were so good, this and that. I don't think that's going to be the case next year. And players who had the bad contracts and who players were saying, oh, they need to trade that, trade this, trade that, get them all out of there. Majority of those players actually did pretty good this past season. They did consistently well. And they kind of get overlooked. In all honesty, I think some of these players do get overlooked. So anyways, moving on to their projected lineup, and I like their top 6. Overall, starting off here with Philip Forsberg, Mikael Granlund, and Matt Duchene. Then you have Eli Tolvanen, Ryan Johansson, and Nino Niederreiter. I like that top 6 as a whole. Some very solid forwards there. Tolvanen, obviously pretty young. The rest of those guys were obviously kind of overloaded on contracts. I mean, you could argue they have big salaries, but they're good. They're good players. Obviously, Duchene, when that contract was signed, the first 2 years didn't look all too good, but then he really improved dramatically. Johansson had an all right year. Granlund was good, obviously. So yeah, overall, I like a lot of these moves that Nashville has made, and I like that top 6 overall. Their bottom 6 is good as well. Tanner Genoa, Colton Sissons, Jakob Trenin, Zach Sanford, Cody Glass, and Philip Tomasino. And then for some additional depth players, you have John Leonard, Tommy Novak, and Michael McCarron. I like those depth moves. I like this bottom 6 as a whole. Genoa brings that solid, physical, offensive, middle 6 type role. He's a very good player there. Sissons, a solid third-line center. Trenin brings that physicality. There's some arbitration concerns, but he did get signed to a contract. Obviously there. And then you have Leonard, Novak, and McCarron as some good depth to bring up to the roster. And hey, they signed Kamel to a 3-year entry-level contract. I don't have him in my depth chart, but I would imagine since they signed him, he likely comes in and plays with Milwaukee, and then comes back up and plays for the Predators. I think that would be a very good addition. He's been very promising for Finland this past year. Look at the defense. The defense is even better. I like it a lot. And the thing is, the only problem I see with it is they have a lot of left-handed defensemen. So starting off here with your first pairing, you have Yossi and Ekholm. Second pairing, McDonough and Fabro. Third pairing, Lazon and Borowiecki. And then you have Alex Carrier as your fill-in type player who probably may come in and play some games there for the Predators. But I like that defense. Very powerful top four for Nashville there. Obviously acquired Ryan McDonough from Tampa. Yossi had a breakout, or not even a breakout year, had a career year last season. And just overall, that defense looks impressive. I like that defense overall. Very solid top four. You could argue Fabro maybe gets first pairing. I wouldn't really disagree with you. Maybe they give Fabro a chance there. He's a young defenseman. Maybe he gets some potential there. But overall, I like it. I like it as a whole for Nashville. So I think it is a very good defense there. And then obviously your goaltending is Jose Saros and Kevin Lankinen. And then maybe Askarov will come in there, play a couple of games, maybe solidify himself as the backup role for Nashville. Maybe move Lankinen down to Milwaukee. But overall, I like these moves that Nashville has made. I like the goaltending as a whole. Their tandem isn't all too bad. Lankinen can be a suitable backup. It's not like he's an amazing backup, but he's an alright backup. And then the defense is good, and then the forward core is good. So this team really has improved. This team has stayed in the hunt for a while. Are they a cup team? Might be stretching it a little, but if they make the right move come deadline, if they're doing really well, I think they can be. Moving on to your biggest questions heading into this, and the first one actually, they're not even really big questions. The first one revolves around Cody Glass. Will Glass bounce back? Or not even really bounce back, just start picking it up? Because I do think him coming into this Predators as a fourth-line center role, this may be his last chance to really prove himself before people start considering him to be a bust. And people are already starting to consider him to be a bust. So maybe this could be Glass's redemption year. Maybe he gets some time on that third line, moves Sissons down to the fourth line. We'll see how Glass does overall. Then the other question is, will Tanner Genoa stay healthy? Now, Genoa is actually the sleeper or bust. Let me grab my notebook here, courtesy of the fantasy hockey guy for the Hockey News. He's actually your sleeper or bust. So Genoa is one of the Preds' most consistent players and led the NHL in rookies with 24 goals. Even if the spark plug from Saskatchewan falls short on offense, his physical play makes him valuable. So that is something that comes to mind. He fought a lot last year. Nashville was a team that fought a decent amount. So obviously Genoa may stay consistent in that remarks, and I think he will be good in that area. And obviously, overall, I like that for Nashville. Very solid forward. I think he does stay consistent. He might have a sophomore slump because that's what players have sometimes, but I think he is a very solid player overall. Anyways, moving into your point projections here, you have Roman Josi leading the White with 75 points. Regressing a little bit, I would imagine he probably gets more than that, maybe around 80, 85 points. But obviously, Josi there, very solid defender. You have Philip Forsberg lying at 67 points. Then you have Matt Duchene at 66. You have Mikael Granlund at 58. And then you have Ryan Johansson at 54. So I like those point projections overall. Josi probably leads the team. Forsberg continues his offensive triumphs. And obviously, Matt Duchene keeps playing consistent and makes that contract worth something more. And obviously, last year he had 40 goals, if I'm correct. If I'm correct, he had 40 goals. That is impressive. And honestly overlooked because nobody really is mentioning that Duchene had two really, they weren't horrible years with that big contract he got signed with the Predators, but they weren't ideal either. So obviously they're very good for the Predators. Obviously he's living up to that contract. And then, what's to really ask about? The question is now, do they make the playoffs? Now, the past couple of years, I said yes in 2021. I said maybe in 2022, but I was honestly leaning towards no. But now, when I look at this Predators team and I see how their top six has really improved, those contracts are worth something a lot more now, I'm honestly going to say yes. I think they do make the playoffs now that I've seen what they can do. And obviously, they're a good team. They should have some potential to do some good this season. Maybe not finish in the top three. Maybe they'll be around a wild card spot like they were last year. But maybe they could sneak into that third division spot in that Central Division. But we'll see. I think the Predators are a very good team. I'm very high on them overall. And I think they'll do some good. Then anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching. For Ice Personally, I really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe down below if you are new. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.